here with Corey and Mike Smart on audio. If you don't know who Mike Smart is, well, it's hard to keep up. It does so many things.
I almost want to read, Mike. I almost want to read that you had a Facebook post up a couple of days ago. Like, listen, I get a lot of you people are confused. Here's the very few things that I'm doing, and it was like 7 pages. Smart digital payments, masters of the Bitcoin. Meta-Builders. Like, fucking, we're busy, so you guys are fucking sleeping on this shit. We're moving and shaking.
MetaJax, like the largest portal install ever in Uplift, right?
Right,
like,
it was London, right?
Crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show, Mike.
We're still planning on releasing as an NFT the doodle that Gary made, just trying to map out how epic, because Gary was the one who did the portal install for that or whatever, right?
Yeah, I know.
All these lines everywhere. It's like it's a piece of Uplift history now.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to explain to Gary. Like, I couldn't figure out how to get what I created onto paper.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat there bending his mind for a while, trying to be like, yeah, no, this goes in and out of this. And, it's like, because I had to do some extra effort to figure out how I was going to get that many portal doors on, but like, so that you didn't have to go in one portal and then to be able to go to another portal to get to another place. You could just go to one portal hub and get to every corner of the map, no matter what portal hub you were at.
Man, I remember writing the article for that. I'm gonna drop it in the comments. We did 2 articles on you, but the second one that was just focused on that. Like, seriously, it took me like 3 to 4 hours just to wrap my mind around it. Like, because I was going to each portal and like taking images, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's like 16 builds across 32 portals, or 32 builds across 60. Like, it was just like all the numbers were pretty impressive. So, but yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with that, and I want to know about Masters of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, you guys.
What
so
the hell is that?
I remember talking to you about it, and you guys have been doing like everything right. I think, right? Like, I saw you guys at Shitcoin. You guys had a desk there. You guys were promoting the shit out of this thing, and like just really, really grinding on it. Because I mean, that's that's the way you do shit. So, tell us everything. Start at the beginning. How'd this idea start? Where the fuck did it come from?
So, Masters of the Bitcoin is the brainchild of David Fuchs, who met James, who is the artist, James Patterson. And it was, back in 2014 is when they met, or 18. And they came together on the documentary that David produced, which is called Bit by Bit, where he interviewed a bunch of the crypto OGs back in the day, like Brock Pierce and probably Satoshi and Hal Finney and all those people. And so they conceptualized the idea for action figures of all these folks and ended up getting some physicals made back in 2017, I think it was. I need to get that date right, though. But anyhow, when the NFT scene started popping on, obviously it was a natural progression of things. And so they decided to come back together to do this NFT project. And they've been working on it for like 4 years. And they tried to go launch. And you understand the industry. There was scammer after scammer, people trying to take 60% of their project on the back end on percentages and just ripping them off. And they ended up, I got a referral. One of our mutual friends referred us, and I ended up spending a considerable amount of time and money acquiring the customer to show them, look, I'm not a scammer. Like, you could trust me. So I spent a bunch of money on the upfront and on shitcoin, and was like, look at what I'm willing to do for you. And they're like, okay, we'll be your client. And we've been not really clients since then. We've been more friends and just working together as a team.
And that's honestly, like, you're going out and doing the like that, building the relationship thing in this industry, to me, is all the marbles, right? So there's like a gazillion different people out there that are willing to take your money for doing whatever, but like that relationship and creating those kind of relationships at scale means we're making money no matter what the world looks like in 5 years.
Yeah, Yeah, pretty much, because I mean, it's not just about NFTs. I mean, Masters
Right.
of the Bitcoin is an immaculate brand. We could plug this thing into video games, movies. We've got, most of these projects that are starting from the bottom up. They start with this, these JPEGs, and then they garnish attention via massive amounts of, predictable cash laundering. And
Yep.
then it's like, look at me, and celebrities are like, hell yeah, we can get rich. Let's jump on board. Masters of the Bitcoin put 4 years into high quality professional artwork, curating relationships, getting signatures for IP, all this other stuff, so that these celebrities and influencers and people in the space are fully aware and agreeing with the process before we launched, and we're not trying to do a cash grab, which I believe is a perfect way to segue into the prices of the NFTs. The reason why they're so high, and it's seemingly high, because we chose wax. One, they wouldn't seem so high if we were on ETH.
Yeah, 100%. They'd be totally normal.
Right, and they're 4 years of professional, like some of the highest quality art that you can get for James' abilities, and it's taken him years. Like I think these prices are low, and they're as low as they are because of where we're at. Not on ETH, and people want to play easier, lower barrier to entry.
Yeah, I was pissed. I was taking a look at it, and I wanted to grab one of the here. I'll just go over the let's freaking go down there.
What's the collection name on Nifty Box?
MOTBTC.
MOTBTC. Okay, there we go.
Man, I haven't even had time to look at all this crazy shit.
Yeah,
so much stuff.
Yeah, so when you buy the action figure, look, there's Ken Bosak. Right. When you buy the action figures, you can either hold on to them and trade them and whatnot, do the NFT thing, or you can burn them, open the packs, and you'll get a crumpled pack NFT along with the action figure NFT. And the crumpled packs will be able to have functionality, so we could save up a considerable amount and then blend them together to get something. And we'll be having accessories and all sorts of stuff, because we do plan on and are currently integrating with multiple virtual worlds that you can use these avatars, or transfer these action figures into avatars.
Yeah,
that you can then play as, which is obviously natural.
Hold on.
Yeah, these are so good.
Hold on. Must to show you something in this moment. So we've been talking about what it's going to look like porting Uplift builds into Unreal 5.
Oh shit.
This is Uplifters Tower that's getting ready to get rendered in Unreal 5.
Where's it going?
Somewhere. The thing is, like, the thing that I want to accomplish this year, this is in our team chat, by the way. The thing that I want to accomplish this year is showing that we can make an Unreal 5 experience with a build from the Uplift, right? And very easily integrate all the different kind of avatars, right? Because like I picked up some of those voids, right? The second that you guys have downloadable 3D models, like I need to pick up some of the stuff that you guys are doing as well, and then be able to have a meetup in one of our builds. Like that's kind of my MVP dream for, okay, like we know where all this is headed. We're always going to have Minecraft being that layer where everybody can come in and everybody can build, because that's not true in Unreal 5, right? But then having the ability to take those builds in a meaningful way and bring them up into what's going to be the future, pretty much, right? And Jimmy's just like, screw this, I'm out of here. I don't even want to be part of this anymore. He must have had some internet trouble. But yeah, so that's been my goal. And we're talking about getting some Unreal 5 licenses from one of the accelerators that we're in, the New Coin Accelerator, which is awesome, right? And we're gonna have. I mean, what we want to do is I want to get at least one kind of intern research partner to come in and help us, finish off learning Unreal 5 if they don't know it yet, right? Because we're going to get all the tutorials and stuff and start working on that. And obviously it's going to turn into quite the business model. So whoever does that's going to make money. Anyway, right. So, and just have that situation so that we can show, everybody's always going to be able to build in Minecraft because it's easy. And then you're going to be able to bring that up and we're going to be able to boot that up into an object file, right? So and this is something that we're very close to being able to do anyway, right? These voids and what you guys are doing, being able to download that as a 3D, object that's going to be usable in these games, we're going to have that for Uplift, right? So you're going to be able to download the 3D object of your build, period. We're just going to make that, available as a service. And then we'll be booting that up into all sorts of different kinds of things.
Hey, Corey, I have a question.
Yeah.
What time is our happy hour this week?
I don't know.
What time do we normally do our happy hour?
I don't know. We've only done 3, and I think 2 of them were at the same time, and one of them was
did we go at 7 p.m. Friday night?
Yeah.
Hey, Mike Smart, what are you doing at 7 p.m. Friday night on tomorrow?
It's tonight for us there, Home Slice.
Sorry, yeah, it's 7 p.m. tonight. What are you doing? What are you doing? Do you have a plan?
I don't think so. I mean,
maybe we should do happy hour at one of the Mike Smart builds, either the Genesis or the London HQ, because that's a really cool place. And
yep,
talk about all of this stuff, right?
Because it's seriously it's been too freaking long not having you on the show, Mike.
Right?
Super what the fuck? We're in what the fuck land. So yeah, no, I'd love to do that. And maybe we can get up some banners. Well, you guys started your build on DGen 1 for Masters of Bitcoin now too, hey?
Yes.
Okay,
that's interesting.
That
Rocket
means
Gallery.
I'm gonna have to write an article about that, which is exciting because I love writing articles for you, by the way.
Right. I would love to make an NFT 101 of each of my galleries and be able to move them between world maps. So that yeah. Thanks for taking the really good news and making it something I can't do, right? Yeah. And so this is gonna take a whole lot more development because your builds, they're epic. So we can get those as object files, right? But it's not gonna bring the pictures.
Right.
So we would have to reinstall the pictures. And one thing that we could probably never do is allow any you're never gonna be able to paste anything into a survival world, right? Just that's I don't see how we could do that. We've kind of mapped around we could take the entire Upliftium cost of all the stuff. That's super complex. I don't have the brain space for that right now. It's not impossible, but it's very unlikely. But we could set it up so that we can and will have a paste service for any of the creative worlds because who gives a shit? It just doesn't matter. So that'll be fun. And even to other blockchains. Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's just to us, it's just other maps, right? So it doesn't matter. Yeah, it'd be interesting too and I think they should be separate. Sorry, we're just kind of processing this because we've been talking a lot about this. So you have your land NFT, and then I think we can just have build NFTs, right? And if you own the NFT, we'll paste it on your thing, which means that you could make a build and sell 10 of them if you wanted to, right? If you wanted to have them out there like that. I think we would have generic builds that we could start selling from our collection as well.
Yeah, remember when I wanted to sell generic in museums, right? This is
that
idea, right?
Right, because that's there's huge demand for people that just want to drop a build down there and then start playing with it. So
remember when Mike Smart wanted to sell really complex portal hub designs that go quite nicely on a 2D piece of paper? We should pull that file up because that is the most brilliant diagram of all time. I'm going to see if I can find it.
Yeah, it's kind of a headache just to even look at, let alone create with another human being that hasn't been thinking what you've been thinking.
You guys did work.
Yeah, it was a all day, multiple $1,000 project.
Right?
People were like, what the fuck are you doing? Had I done it now, that's what people don't understand is had I waited, it wouldn't have meant shit. It was worth a couple grand to make sure, it's I'm supporting the ecosystem, and then it's worth the bragging rights. Just be like, look, check it out, nerds.
I mean, I think it's very epic bragging rights. Okay, I gotta boot up the game. We gotta do some gratitudes.
I was just getting in, but it didn't seem like you guys were, so I just shut my computer off.
Yeah, we're
sorry.
Yeah, no, we can just go in and you can meet us in there if you want. But hey, Jen was tweeting out that you guys have a secure way using the Uplift game mechanics to allow people to pay for services in world with in world crypto. Like, what? And Jen's all excited, like, I know something you don't know. Like, yeah.
So basically, I was talking with one of my builders a few months ago, and I was asking him, like, what item in game could we use to load the chests with that could prove that it was ours so that we could sell them for X amount of money? And the idea we came up with is to use compasses, hide your lodestone in a room where no one can get to, and you lock your lodestone to your location, and then you can set the price to any price of your products of the compass, and then put it in the chest, and people can fucking buy a verified item from the chest.
Okay, you're gonna need to talk to me like I'm an idiotic 5-year-old.
So
I think I got it. It's actually quite, like, yeah, I think I got it. It's actually quite brilliant. But yeah.
So okay, the end goal is like I want to buy an NFT or a pair of shoes from you.
Do it again.
Right? Is that am I off? Is that crazy? Like what kind of like like somebody coming from outside the Uplift who wants to come and buy this special product that can only be bought this way. By the way, I love the sort of exclusive nature of that.
Right.
Walk me through just that process from the buyer's perspective, and then we can get into the tech and why it works later.
So you're walking up to the property and you see images of things. Like, let's say you see a giant shoe building. You're like, fuck, this is dope. You go in and there's QR codes, or not QR codes, sorry. There's images of all these different shoes on the wall. And then in front of the image, there's a chest with compasses in it that are loaded to your specific location. So you have a lodestone, and if it belongs to you on your property, whatever, it says SDP Portal Hub Lodestone or whatever. And that way, you can verify that it's one of yours. And when they purchase it through the chest, it'll show on the blockchain that they bought an SDP compass for X amount of upliftium. And then,
it won't show that on the blockchain.
It won't?
No, not our stuff isn't on chain. However, it shows on our system, and so like what you need is a report of that, right? Yeah. So we can absolutely do that. And but that's the same thing where like if you can set up a punch sign, but at the same time that punch sign isn't a sales thing, right? So yeah, okay. So basically, what we could, because I want to MVP test this as quickly as possible, right? Which is true of everything. So we basically have like 10 things for sale. They're all in your chest. You're selling them for upliftium. And what we would then need to do is the Uplift would give you a report of these are the wax addresses that bought all these things.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and it would have to be integrated into the entire economy to where Uplift knew about the transactions, all that stuff. Because then, let's say, for example, right, I've got a $30,000 package. Someone in the Uplift world's like, man, these are some badass builds. We want some intricate shit as well. And they roll up and they see package 1 and all the descriptions of this on the sign next to, yep, in Uplift World at one of the Meta-Builders towers. And then they purchase a lodestone with $30,000 worth of upliftium. You know what I'm saying? And
I feel like I need to put on a pinstripe suit and get a cigar to get ready for your $30,000 package.
Very specific. Well, and on the flip side, the being able to transfer upliftium in game between accounts is something that we're gonna have that solved this year as well. Rocket Gallery could solve the click function, like open up a site. Well, we don't have that, and I'm not sure how that would be the case. I mean, QR codes are just such a simple solution to that.
There's a couple interesting ideas, right? Like that you could play with. I'm not really sure how it would work, but you could potentially plug in vaporware music discs that actually had a functionality of connecting to an NFT somehow, right? But it's basically the same thing, right? Like you would create a disc, but you'd still need what Corey, stated, which would be tracking on the back end to be able to have that data and info to be able to have that NFT minted, right?
It was our goal a long time ago, and we've tried a bunch of different times to get this done, and we've brought in a bunch of people to do it, and they never accomplished it, of getting things like that on chain, right? And we have to revisit that, because I mean that would be the best thing to be able to do, right? Like if we just have even all in-game transactions on uplifting them on chain would be fucking amazing data for people to be able to plug into.
You're gonna make us regret going to Ethereum, Corey.
No, dude, like Ethereum, we're never gonna do. We're gonna be everywhere. That doesn't mean anything. You know that, right? Like that, like we could never do anything like that on Ethereum, and we won't need to, right? Like the land keys will be on Ethereum, and everything interesting is going to be somewhere else.
Right.
That part's easy.
For sure.
Anyway, all right. Well, thank you for blowing my mind.
Well, it was, I'm trying to figure out a way, because like I've came into, I've had disagreements with other individuals who are, who see things one way and can't think outside the box to be able to say, oh, well, there's other options. And, I'm like, I'm bringing my businesses into the Uplift world and I'm going to sell my products. And people are just like, you can't. That's going to go against what they're trying to accomplish. I'm like, I want to use Upliftium.
Wait, who said that?
I'm not going to,
okay, well, yeah, don't tell me. Just like to that person, you're drunk. This is exactly what we want the Uplift to be.
Right. It's like it conflicts with Corey's, design. And it's like, well, you think what you think, but I'm going to keep moving forward. No, it doesn't.
Well, actually, even if it conflicts with Corey's design, I've never said this. I've been waiting for the most opportune moment to say it.
All right, yes, please.
We're a DAO now. I mean,
yep.
So
exactly.
So, and I mean, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, if Corey's overall design doesn't agree with the DAO, it's not the best move. So, right?
No, that's why I don't want to DAO my business, because motherfuckers like you, bro. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter what Mike Smart says. All right, I'm burning the fucking thing down now. It's burning it down.
It's it's an interesting power dynamic that I really want you to try someday, Mike.
Right?
Is it like it? I actively, like, the whole point is the biggest thing around the DAO is to leverage the insane creativity and that feeling of ownership that a lot of people have or whatever. Right? Great.
Yeah, there's some guys on my team that deserve more freedom to be able to make decisions. It's just.
The incentive, right? And we have to scale, and this is why, like, the team is starting with most of the DAO tokens, right? Like, we can make whatever happen we need to make happen, because otherwise it would ground to a halt and the Uplift would die. Like, we've seen DAOs do this, right? Where you can't get a simple budget thing together because you can't get enough of a quorum to pass it, and now you're fucking dead. Like, as a business, you're screwed, right? So we had to balance all that stuff out. But yeah,
I mean, like pinatas for sticks, but we've experienced that ourselves.
Whoever is listening, commerce in the Uplift. Right, I've been saying this from the beginning. We're a metaverse. We're not a game, right? And yes, people can play Minecraft within the context of this game, and we do a lot of things to sort of serve that player archetype, right? Fine. I have been adamant from the beginning. We are a metaverse first. We're a game second, and metaverse is where, like, commerce, like fucking Web 3.0. Website, 4-dimensional websites to sell stuff, to have a presence, to do things, is absolutely part of that. Mike, like, it's amazing, and I'm glad you just started doing it anyway, because, like, who gives a fuck what I think, and that people should be that way. But yeah, no, that it has to be that way. If we can't be a platform where companies and projects and really cool things to come in and market their stuff, that attention is what ends up being sticky and what ends up funding the rest of the things. We can do all the fun things in the world, but if there isn't commerce going on inside your platform, you're fucking dead. That's all the marbles. Right.
Nobody, like, people like to play, but if people came to play, they would go to a place where there was less rules, not the Uplift. We are, as a community, trying to establish something dependable, consistent for people to be able to feel like they're playing, but also making money. And we want to do that interoperably.
Yeah.
First time word. And, so that being the case, it makes sense to have a proof of concept in an area with less barrier to entry, so you can work out the kinks of the economies and fail cheaply, and then take that knowledge and expand that into other technologies, because inevitably we will, as a community, die if we don't integrate with this new high quality experience, and you obviously know that, and I'm super excited that you're going in that direction.
Well, and sometimes people have laser vision, which is funny because like they get hung up on one point. Like I don't ever, remember Corey ever saying anything about commerce really in the metaverse, other than like don't fuck up the survival world economy or you're out of the cluster, right?
Right. But that's
but what's interesting about it is I remember countless times, Corey, where you've said, someday we might be focused on the hardcore gamers, but we're not right now. We're focused on building this ecosystem out to derive the most potential from, community. And a big part of community is marketing. A big part of community is like the Rocket Gallery's doing it, right? Like, people linking to other, sites that, promote both in-world commerce with the uplifting economy and, beyond metaverse commerce with all of the embassies that are sitting, there waiting for people to visit them, right? Mm-hmm.
Right. My opinion on this whole linking to other websites thing, though, and why I tried to come up with the idea for the lodestone situation is because Uplift World itself is a website, in my opinion. The way that you guys are building it, it's a three-dimensional website. And I was telling Jen yesterday, I look at it as a collaborative three-dimensional website where people can bring communities and capitalize on one foot traffic, like here we are as a strip mall 3D website where no one has to go to any external links because you have the mechanisms within the ecosystem, and people are, motivated to purchase within that ecosystem because every time they do, it benefits their back end.
Yeah.
So
and honestly, if this pilot works, you just solved a major problem for us.
Well, and I mean, we always want to have uplifting and be that core available thing, but it's only a matter of time before we cut a deal with something like Cash to Crypto, the Canadian exchange or whatever, right? And have dollar payments integrated, like having figuring out how to make our metaverse be Shopify times Stripe times crypto, like all of that stuff is entirely possible for us to build it.
Right, and I know how to do that. I mean, I'm smart digital payments. We can figure out how to integrate credit card payments,
or we just hire Mike.
Right.
So any artists out there, we need a little clip of whatever, maybe we need a meme of the Bitcoin. Right? I know how to do that. I'm smart digital payments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
That's me. That's what I do.
That's how we roll. I like it.
Oh, but yeah, I wanted to mention real quick that we have some partnerships with Victoria VR and Blockchain Valley Virtual, City of Gold, and by we I'm talking about Masters of the Bitcoin. And some big things are happening. We got metaverses coming out, and basically anybody who owns one of our NFTs are going to have the ability to go inside City of Gold and mint an avatar that resembles their specific NFT. So like if you got
they're going to be able to go in and mint an avatar that represents their NFT.
Yeah, so essentially the partnership that we created with City of Gold allows our NFT holders to have the ability to mint their own NFT and walk around the world as their NFT. So if they got John McAfee mint number 500, they'll be walking around as John McAfee with a name tag that says 500 on it, and no one else can have that avatar because they don't own the NFT.
Yeah, we gotta have Block Cities on. Is it Block Cities or where is this?
That was that's City of Gold.
City of Gold. Yeah, tell us about that. What is that?
We met them at Shitcoin 2022. They came to our booth because one of our guys was wearing a Vivint hat, and the guy who's leading the marketing efforts over there at City of Gold is a professional marketing guy for like solar or whatever, which is a great partner to have, in my opinion. But yeah, they're building this massive, I think it's AR, but I'm not sure, metaverse that has passive income and all sorts of other stuff. Like you buy the land and it makes you money. But yeah, anyways, I lost my train of thought. Somebody's outside.
So City of Gold, we were talking about City of Gold, and you know, you had mentioned that you'd be able to walk around. One hell of a name you pulled out there, but you'd be able to walk around with John McAfee number 500, you know, in the metaverse because you own that NFT, which is quite fascinating to me because, you know, Corey and I are probably like we're a little bit late to the ship on this whole, like, you know, degenning into IP right NFTs. Let's just put it that way. Right?
Dude, super. Well, I mean, it's still early, but compared to all of our friends, pretty late.
Right. And so, like that just bridging that concept, you know, back into the metaverse is fascinating to me, right? Like now you own the skin who you get to not only do whatever the hell you want to, but you get to represent yourself within the metaverse, which is quite fascinating. So Corey asked you, you know, tell us a little bit more about City of Gold, and that's kind of where you lost your train of thought.
Yeah, that metaverse, I haven't heard of that, and you know, because I think I can totally see the Uplift running its own avatar line before too long, because it annoys me that my Uplift Zen one I can't just take somewhere else, right?
Yeah,
but, like,
and
we're
that's
gonna have
what
to
we're doing.
analyze the EULA and do some different things with that, or just have somebody else who doesn't give a fuck do it for us.
Right. So,
like, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So, Meta-Builders is essentially. I know it's confusing. That's why I wrote that book the other day on my Facebook to try to tell people, like, this is what we're doing. So, if you can conceptualize it within a virtual environment, that's where we aim to create services for. You know, if it's part of Web3, Meta-Builders is attempting to absorb that as a service industry, and we have multiple design studios and all sorts of stuff going on. We have people that, like, if there ever was a wearable made for crypto voxels, we have the people in our ecosystem that have done it. You know, like we've got Moloch Digital on board, you know, as a spoken partnership, and Musashi from there is a badass, and he's been doing a lot of cool stuff behind the scenes for us. And once we fully integrate with those teams over at Metagame and Moloch Digital, we'll have access to pretty much all of the devs that are worth talking about in this industry as it pertains to, you know, Web3 and avatar creation, virtual world creation, wearable creation, and then Meta-Builders, you know, has the marketing side of things. And we essentially, what we tout is that we have turnkey solutions for businesses and brands to enter the metaverse, which is an idea that was conceptualized from my misery of trying to learn how to build in the Uplift world. So
I mean,
that's why I have to bring value back.
Corey and I are tired. We haven't slept for 30 days, and we're probably not going to be able to sleep for another 90 at least. And we keep throwing this out there, and nobody takes us up on this because they're all busy doing their own thing. But I'm going to throw this out there to you. Anyway, like, you've got an amazing network that you've built up around Storage Digital Payments, and you've been branching off into other things. You know, do you guys have a channel that you know, put all of this out there into the open? Like, I know you got tons of people working for you. I mean, what if we just gave you a slot on this show and you can talk about whatever the hell you want, right? Like, you can bring in whoever the hell you want and talk to whoever you want and do it here. I mean, if you don't have your own network, like, because I think a lot of what you're doing is really pertinent to like, I don't know who you were arguing with, but that person is wrong and you're right. Right? Like, a lot of what you've been doing, like knowing you and going through the process of you know, outlining everything that you've done in the Uplift, like, we're not able to represent the things that you are putting into action in the Uplift fully, so I'd just rather prefer you do it yourself here on this channel, right? Like you guys, well, and you're breaching borders, you're breaching boundaries. It's not only here; you're doing things all over the place.
Yeah,
I would
like,
just
the
love
story
some...
about this needs to be consistently told.
Right.
A lot, like over and over and over again.
That's actually amazing that you propose that, because I am looking for some sort of, like, outlet for content that's dependable and that we can take, because, like, look, this is obviously part of the organization and part of the DAO of, you know, that exists now, because I've been trying to squeeze in for a long fucking time. But you know, I just figured I'd buy my way in because it works. But yeah, dude. Like I've been seeing this from the beginning where we bring, you know, we have to have a section where people do the HR. We have to have a section where there's marketing. You know, like everyone has to have their job, and my job is to make it easier for people to come in. You know, and we can do it all for them. All they got to do is just. We can even make them a little avatar to make them look like themselves, and then just like, all right, come on in. All you got to do is just have some fun.
So that you'll like this, and I think people, you know, they don't always tune into our show, but you'll like this a lot. So there are these NFTs called Degens. Now I had to say Deegan the other day because Sean over at MetaCollect likes Deegan, but yeah, there are these NFTs that Corey and I have been playing around with that, you know, are quite cool. And Corey had this crazy idea that like everyone he's told loves, and he kind of wants to figure out a way to put like his Uplift avatar on the shirt of his Degen NFT, right? Like,
yeah, I just asked Gary if we could do that. He's like, maybe. I don't know, like that's cool because that's like right, like having these you know void Degen things are really awesome, and I'm excited to grab one of your guys too. And just like you can edit them in Blender, right? So like if I could get to the point where you know I have just my goofy freaking like NASA t-shirt cocky wearing freaking you know uplift guy on the shirt of an alien that's like playable in you know everything from what Uplift will become to you know Grand Theft Auto 5 and like kind of everywhere, right? This is where all this stuff is going.
Now what happens when somebody wants to give you $10 million for that freaking NASA thing and open a restaurant because that's the new way to like you know have a
I mean,
IP rights for Uplift World NFTs, right? Like,
well,
this is where, so like, you know,
this is kind of this is the interesting thing, right? Like, so let's say I mint that skin that Greg made for me, right? So I mint that skin as an NFT. What does that really mean? Because anyone can go use it, right? But anybody can go use the JPEG too, right? But I say, listen, like this actually has the IP rights for using. You know, this image in the context of, you know, it being, you know, me and the Uplift, right? So like, what number is that? Like, I don't know, 10 million. I'd probably fucking jump at that right now. 2 years from now, maybe not. Right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Well,
Mike, like honestly, but like get in touch. Like you can use this show.
Yeah, 100%.
Do whatever you
pick
want.
A time slot and just take it forever.
And like people might not know this, Corey and I started the show. You know, I'm pretty sure the Uplift, you know, was probably in his head. It wasn't called the Uplift; it was something else. But like we started this show before like any of this actually existed. And so like this show is something that Corey and I do. That like of course we vested interest in the Uplift, so we cover it all. But like it's not directly connected to the Uplift. So honestly, dude, you can come on here and talk about whatever blows people's minds about anything that you're doing, because I think you're like. I was really happy to see that you know, normally we might say that somebody's conceited, but I was really happy to see that you actually have yourself in your own line of master the Bitcoin, because you deserve to be there. You're doing so much, right? Like you've plugged into so many things.
I'm buying, right? Literally, I'm buying wax right now because I don't have enough wax to buy one of those things. And
and literally, the only one I'm gonna, the first one I'm gonna buy is Mike Smart, right?
Yeah,
dude, I appreciate that. I want to clarify though, out of mad respect for David Fuchs and James, this is not my project. Masters of the Bitcoin, Meta-Builders came on. So basically, Masters of the Bitcoin is a client of Meta-Builders, where we are taking their brand and bringing it into the metaverse as what we do. And therefore, we're bringing them into virtual spaces, giving them 3D avatars, you know, marketing and all that stuff, which is what we provide as a service. So as, you know, as a marketing genius, I was like, I have to get myself in there, because I myself can honestly say that, you know, Masters of the Bitcoin, the characters that are in there are true OGs. The majority of them absolutely deserve to be there. And I finagled my way in there based on the fact that I believe that I will absolutely deserve to be there. And I will show people that I'll deserve to be there by being there.
You know what?
Well, let's just make yours fucking be the next one to sell out. Like Ken Bozak and then you. You don't need any more fucking cred than that.
You know what might be a fun
Right.
you know what might be a fun show, Corey, is like if we just like show up one day and then like we do the gratitudes, which we haven't done yet, by the way. We do the gratitudes and then like, 10 minutes later, we just like take ourselves off the screen and like we're quiet in the background as Mike Smart and Austin Linney go to town.
That's a good seriously. I absolutely agree. And this is why I want to do more panel discussions anyway, because like cross-pollinating all the amazing people in our space is a value we need to do, Jimmy. Like that's like I think one of the core things that we can bring to this ecosystem, obviously, is like celebrating people like you, Mike, and the success of your clients drop and like you fucking all the crazy shit you've been doing in the space. But introducing you to people like Austin, like I can think of thousands of combinations that need to happen that will like make shit happen in this space. That to me is fucking super exciting. I'll get to soon. I'm literally buying wax right now, so please hold.
And like if you don't know who Austin is, like he's one of our favorite people in the space. We kind of came across him haphazardly, and he's just brilliant, right? Like he's a mindset coach. He's working with incredible humans, that are playing with like real life real estate. I mean, he's at the cutting edge of a lot of really interesting things, and like I just would love to just see you two in a room talking to one another.
He seems spiritually driven as well. He doesn't seem monetarily driven, which is super important in this, I believe, in this industry.
Yeah. And I mean, the monetary stuff is there, but the why of it is definitely it's almost more mission driven. He definitely has some spiritual stuff in there as well. Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, no, I absolutely want to hammer down on that idea to bring Meta-Builders onto the Uplift show, because the idea that I have is that we bring on multiple different types of people. Like we bring on potential clients, we bring on competitors, we bring on NFT projects, and we just interview them. But the biggest thing is what I'm trying to accomplish is to be the hub, the go-to place for all services Web3, and have Meta-Builders like how you would look at like an Amazon. Amazon isn't really anything other than a hub for consumable goods, and Meta-Builders wants to be similar, where it's not really anything. Like you can't say, what does Meta-Builders do? Like, oh, they create avatars. Like, no, we want to do everything that is Web3 and be the job placement. We're even working on deals with colleges to take their Web3 developers and put them into their first job placement as Meta-Builder freelancers. So like, we're not fucking around. So if we can interview people, that'd be great.
Yeah, you know where to find me. Hit me up. We'll make it happen. I mean,
Absolutely.
what happens when we get booted out of primetime because we have awesome people like Mike Smart doing all of the cool shows on our own channel?
Threaten me with a good time.
Right. Well, but then there's so much money to be made there when you think about like products. And now it gets more exciting, because now you think about Meta-Builders being a revolving door of new clients and new businesses, and you're talking about bringing people. You're right there on the onboarding experience, and so any devices or anything that someone would need to be successful in this space, you can add consumable goods and have marketing partners and ad space on the show and all that stuff. Like it really puts things in a whole nother level. Because I mean, we've got real businesses that we're bringing in to these multiple places, and if we can use Uplift World, right, you're building out the interoperable hub that you can travel from one space to another. So if Uplift World becomes the door to the metaverse, and we're like, hey, this is a real easy, inexpensive way to get on in, because that's people's biggest. If you read all the articles out there and that's trending, the number one barrier to entry for normies is they don't know where to go. Yep. And 30 million people know how to get into Minecraft. So
130 million people.
130 million?
Yeah.
Dang. It's funny because like our biggest complaint is like it's difficult to get into Minecraft. And that's the ecosystem that's the ecosystem that we're not focused on yet, which again blows my mind, Corey. Like when people
and there will come a time when we, it's possible to go multi-platform. It's one of the things that our R&D department is looking into right now. And by multi-platform, I mean, Xbox, fucking tablet, blah, 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 right? All that stuff I think is going to come. And that's going to go from, so I think people that have Minecraft Java availability is probably about 1/5 of the total Minecraft players, maybe even less, right? Most of them are playing somewhere else. And so that's something that we have to tackle. And we are. Don't ask me about it for 6 months. Right? Like it's just, who knows, right? It's like this, when it's in the R&D department, it stays there until it's done. And we don't have any timeline on it, right? But it's something we obviously have to do. While we're working on that, we're also working on, researching what it's going to look like to create an experience in Unreal 5. I started talking to people today about Unity, right? There's a lot of different things. Like once you get into these object files, you can start really getting weird. And I want to do that.
Well, and here's another opportunity as well in that, in that direction, is that Uplift World through Meta-Builders has the ability to build a portfolio of potential new clients to bring into the metaverse or bring into the Uplift World without having to actually do it right now. So you could say, okay, well, I've got this business who wants to come into the metaverse, but they're not quite sure how. We're not quite sure, or we're not quite ready. So what do we do? And it's like, okay, well, Meta-Builders can create some sort of a relationship with Uplift World to where you can say, well, we could provide you these services and get you worked into the package to where, like, okay, well, while you wait to be integrated into the world, we can start getting you hooked up with avatars and T-shirts of your liking and blah, 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 and start working on those sides of things for the client. That way they can feel like stuff's getting done.
And most people that we're talking to, especially in ETH, but like a bunch of people that have, no exposure to Web3 at all, want freaking galleries. Like the second they see Rocket Gallery, the second they see one of your builds, or one of the other ones where there's just a lot of pictures, like people obviously using the medium to create things. Like, who wouldn't want that? You'd have to be freaking mental to not want that, right? And then you have all these things that, like hooking up with projects like Meta-Builders. We should actually even just get you, like, Jimmy, sorry to do this to you, but like we're gonna need an article on this stuff too, like basically talk about all the services that you're doing now and can get into.
Well,
you're right. I think like
we've got two amazing articles up about what you guys have built in the world. But like I agree with Corey. We need an article about what you're, I don't know how to say this. We need an article about what you're using the world to base other services off of. Right? Like, that's the best way to say it. And like, no apologies at all. I mean, so Corey, since I've known Corey, we started the show and then we started, working on this thing called the Uplift Metaverse. You might have heard of it. And and I would say, like, hands down, you, along with like maybe 2 or 3 other people, Andre Abello, I would put in the same category. For example, we had him on the show the other day, but Corey's always been a really big proponent of, people utilizing their own skill set to create a business within the metaverse or on top of the metaverse, right? Like just go and do it and get rewarded doing it, right? Like we don't need a cut, we don't need anything, right? Like just go build shit. And I would say that, like, I just hats off to you for all of the stuff that you've built, all of the time that you've put in thinking about, the Uplift World. And like, dude, I'm still hung up on the largest port install ever, and that's a really crappy pixture. a piece of
I haven't gotten into the freaking game yet. I totally need to freaking do that.
Right. But like I'm excited to see what you do with this, right? Because you're thinking at this from a very higher order level, in my opinion, Mike. So let's definitely like plug and play that article if we can. And like, again, like, shout out to Mike, because he quite possibly is one of the nicest people I have ever written an article about. And the process of writing articles for him is like, what else do you need? What can I get you? What can I write for you? Okay, where do I send the images, right? So you're an absolute joy to write with. So
thank you.
I'm more than happy to cover you as much as you need.
Yes. that.
Right. Well, what's the time slot, right? We'll get. I absolutely want to get together with you guys off air and talk about this a little bit deeper, because if we can get a funnel going and start getting these clients, it'll be great to have that plug and play scenario to where, Meta-Builders gets a client, we start building out the back end for their brand consistency and all that stuff, and getting all of the time consuming, boring things that aren't flashy, and they're waiting on results. And what I like to do is plug in podcasts at that specific juncture, because then it's like, okay, we'll go and talk about stuff with people and get some interest while I do all the work in the background.
I'd love to do that. I'd love to explore that idea. I'd also love to talk to you about potentially recommending yourself to sit on a couple of our committees. When the DAO comes out, like marketing or something like that.
Yeah, marketing is right where I went.
I think that your influence and knowledge would be indispensable, actually, once you got in there.
Yep.
Sweet.
Seconded.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm all about it. And I've got plenty of DAO tokens coming along, so I hopefully.
You linked your address. Good, because some people didn't.
I did that like a month ago. People yesterday. Yeah, I had 2 people yesterday. We're like, oh, I'm just seeing this now. I'm like,
some of our favorite people, by the way.
Yeah, for real. So here's and this is like the only response I have is if you're and it was on one of my posts. If you're waiting to see one of my posts, A, I've done 7 at least about this. But B, follow Uplift World, get in the Discord. If you're not interested enough to be paying attention, we kind of missed you on purpose.
Right. Check it out. Whoever that was, I'm a single dad of 2 kids with no family and multiple businesses on multiple DAOs, and I can keep up with this shit. You can figure it out.
This is the way.
Right.
Can you tell him a dad? That was a super dad statement. It was. No excuses.
Super dad, for sure. All right, hey, guys, I got to run. But yeah, let's definitely chat off air, Mike. And honestly, let's just pick a slot and go from there. And if you're interested, I just would love to see that. Would love to be a guest on it. Would love to see all the people that can come on there.
Yeah, and I've got a few moments after if you want to hang out after the show.
Yeah, I'll hang out
in the back room. And Rocket Gallery, dude. I've seen your spatial space. It's great. If you want to attach a QR code to any article that we have in the Uplift World,
yes,
drop it there side by side. Go for it. It's all yours.
That's a great idea. Yeah, the QR code monkey is what I've been using to make those QR codes. It's really, really easy to use.
It took a really long time to find that monkey, but 1,000 monkeys typing, there was one that always just came
one
through.
Monkey. Rocket Gallery is actually coming on. I got booked on the NFT NYC YouTube channel for tonight at 4 to feature a couple of builders. It's going to be Rocket Gallery and maybe even Jen
she's got great build.
Yeah, she's got awesome builds. Anyway, so that's epic that we're gonna be on there. We got invited to do that. And hey, you know how we were supposed to be kind of a shoe in for, but we hadn't been accepted to the IBM accelerator program yet.
You've been accepted?
I mean, somebody has to write an article tomorrow that wasn't planning on writing it.
He winked and dipped. I like it.
He winked and dipped. Thank you for joining us. Happy hour. If you're in the Americas tonight at somewhere, I'm not sure, but follow our official Twitter, and we'll see all of you guys later. Thanks, Mike, for joining us, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.